time for FYI. We got the mayor in. You wanted to cancel on us? Come on, mayor.
No, I'm kidding. School's canceled, so I thought maybe I wish work canceled, like school canceled, and I could just sit at home and watch TV.
Have a snow day.
Yeah.
Back in college snow days.
Absolutely.
You know, you couldn't go to school, but you could do all kinds of other things during a snow day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it just started to snow.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I think it's going to be a slushy mess. So.
Yeah, it is going to be. Great to have you in. Let's get started. You got a long list of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get started with the building code there.
Yeah. So we, as a council and myself, have really been focused on cleaning up our codes across the board, not just building codes, but making sure that we make them clear and concise so citizens can understand them when they have to use them in practice. And the one thing that we're working on is right now that'll be either next Tuesday or the 28th, it'll be the accessory building code. We're going to do some revamping to that because we noticed that in some areas where you may have a larger lot size, it's the same restrictions on an outbuilding as if you were, a small lot in the middle of town. So we're just trying to look at the property classes and the districts and then making it appropriate for that. So if you own 5 or 10 acres out, west of Mill Creek Parkway, maybe a little bit bigger accessory building is appropriate than, putting one up if you live, on 3rd Avenue South, right? So just looking at that, we have a good plan of how to put that together, and that'll be coming to the committee of the whole soon for the entire council to work on. We have staff and then a few council members and myself working on that. So that'll be coming. And then along with that, we're looking at some public safety stuff with smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, and different things like that. That's probably more in the March timeframe that you'll see that stuff coming for discussion. We had a long discussion last year about it, and we're going to bring it back up and finish it. So
again, busy with Scott Maddasion Rail Park.
So I just wanted to highlight, we do have 2 active projects that we're working on at the rail park in conjunction with Grow Clinton and our utility partners and everything. One is now it started at like a $600 million project and it's ticked its way up. And now with increased technology and things like that, it'll be a $1.2 billion project. Mm-hmm. So we're hoping to get that one inked here soon. But the one I wanted to highlight is Project New Horizon. That's like a $200 to $300 million project, 213 jobs. And those folks are going to be actually on site here. I think they get here later today. Hopefully the weather doesn't stop them. And we're going to have some meetings with them and do some different things. And we're hoping that both of those projects by March or April have gone to IEDA for their incentive packages and that we can announce and tell everybody what's happening. It'll be a total of about 300 to 350 jobs over the, as we're working, obviously it'll be a little bit less as they get going and then when they ramp production up. So 2 completely different kind of industries, but really great projects. Matt at City and Andy at Grow Clinton have been working diligently with both of them for quite some time. And it could be really exciting for our community if we can get both of them to move dirt and start putting up some structures. So
that would be great. No doubt about that. Budget, you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah. So we've completed all of our budget sessions. We did 3 of them. Nothing is approved officially yet. It's kind of like a tentative approval, but things can change. I know the state is messing with a rollback. They misinterpreted it, and it was supposed to be 54% or 56, and now it's 54, which it affects our taxes levied by about $140,000. So we're waiting for the state and the House and the Senate to determine what they're doing. But it looks like our levy is going to come in at about $1,533 for the city. Last year, the last 2 years, I think it was $1,528. So we're a little bit up. I'd love to see it still at $1,528, but I think we're going to be around $1,533. But wanted to kind of note too that the 10-year average for our levy is about $1,588, $1,590, right in that range. So we're still well below our 10-year average. I don't like to see it go up at all, but with the cost of things and inflation and stuff like that, a small tick of 5 cents is not a huge hit, but I understand that every dollar counts to households. So we still have some time. Hopefully we can whittle that thing back down to $1,528. I've been kind of pushing Matt and Anita a little bit, but we'll see what the council decides as we're getting through. Budget's due March 31st, so we still have a little bit of time to work on that.
Historic code, Scott.
Yeah, that kind of goes with the accessory. this was my jumbled list, but we're going to look at doing possibly kind of like what Dubuque and Washington, Iowa, and some other communities do. We have a lot of older buildings in town, so we have a committee together to look at like a historic code for like historic districts and different, still safe, but different requirements for a building that might be 100 years old versus one that's brand new, obviously. So that's going to be, if anybody, I mainly put that on there. If anybody's interested and they have input or they want to be involved in something like that, please reach out to us and we can get you on the team, because that's going to be creating historic districts and doing this and doing that and how we're going to do it. So we're going to need a lot of help from people that have some knowledge and some expertise in that area.
How can they get in touch with you?
They can get my email right off the website. Send me an email, tell me what you're interested in, and we'll get you on there. We have 3 or 4 citizens on that team right now, but we're always open. I'm always open to more citizen input. So obviously this is your city. It's not Scott's way or the highway, right? That's not the council's way. We want input from everybody.
Are you looking at the historic areas being more like the downtown and the Lions neighborhood, or what?
Yeah. So we initially thought that downtown Lions, but there is a lot of other places that this could fit into as well. I mean, our housing stock is pretty old. I think the average house in Clinton is like 1950, 1960 as far as when it was built. Yeah. So I think we have some other places, not just the Lions and downtown areas, that this could really work to help bring some investment and make it easy and clean and safe to have some of these buildings remodeled and revitalized.
Okay, so there's definitely advantages there.
Yeah, I think there is. And we just have to look at, what Dubuque does is not necessarily what Clinton does, right? Or what we should do. So we're looking at different areas. We're going to try to determine what fits for Clinton and what will make it, my eyes, is what makes Clinton attractive for investors, whether it's local investors or outside investors, whatever it is, what makes it attractive and what will bring people here. And I think bringing some of that nostalgia back and some of those historic buildings may be one way to kind of attract some folks to the area.
Again, visiting with Scott Maddasion. Before we break for the weather, active shooter training.
I wanted to highlight this. So obviously, there's been some school shootings and some active shooter incidents across the United States and over the past several years. Emergency Management Chance Kness brought this up to us, and he got with our local law enforcement, and we kind of spun our wheels a little bit and all thought that, especially the sheriff and our police chief, thought this would be a really great idea for us to bring in some training so that we our public safety understands how to react in situations. We hope to God that nothing like this ever happens in our community, but we need to be prepared for everything. And this was a really cool training. They brought in the school districts, PD, fire from all across the county, the sheriff's department, emergency management. Everybody was involved in this training. And it was a whole week long, couple days each, and they had different sessions. It was wild to watch the training. It was, they're using radios and they're doing an active thing, and they have the map out there, and I'm here, I'm there. This is my job. This is your job. And it was just really cool. And the company that came in, very, very highly trained and expert people on stuff like this. And one of the guys was a superintendent in Sterling. So he was, preaching to the school, the personnel, literally from their perspective on how this stuff works. So I thought that was a really cool thing. And again, hope we don't have to use it. But talking to our police chief and Sheriff Greenwald, they can use some of the tactics they learned in this training for other types of scenarios that we may deal with or that we do deal with. So I think it was kind of a really cool thing for all of us to learn. And then it kind of put everybody on, we're always on the same team, all public safety in the county, but getting everybody in the room and physically making them all work together in something like this just strengthens that team concept.
Were you involved in that then?
I didn't go through the training,
okay.
But I did. I did hang out for a little bit here and there, and that got shown around a little bit and watched the scenarios. And I have some of the materials that they went through too. So
you, of course, have a military background. Did that help at all?
I think a little bit, yeah. And we have a lot of public safety people that have a military background as well. And I think, some of the skills that you learn in the military for disaster situations can easily be carried over into these types of situations. So I think the biggest thing is, if something happens, we want to make sure that we're proactive and not reactive. And I think some of the critiques on active shooter incidents across the United States have been a lack of proactive action towards the situation. So I think that was really the biggest thing, because we want to, if something like this comes up, we want to mitigate the situation and fix it right away. We don't want to sit back and wait and let it fester and get worse.
Again, visiting with Scott Maddasion, a lot more to talk about. A check of the weather now brought to you by Electronics.
Winter weather advisory now in place until this evening, as rain and windy conditions will eventually give way to snow before the noon hour. A couple of inches of slushy accumulation likely. We'll see highs in the mid-30s. Skies clearing out tonight will drop to the low 20s. Mostly sunny for Friday, highs near freezing. With your Storm Track 8 forecast, I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky.
Well, that rain's starting to transition to snow, kind of a sleety looking snow right now. We're at 35 degrees north, winds averaging 25 miles an hour. Our update brought to you by Electronics.
Electronics Incorporated is the area's largest communications and alarm systems company. Electronics offers best-in-class life safety, security, audiovisual, two-way radios, and communications from top brands. Whether it's a one-man operation, a small business, or a large franchise, their professional team has decades of experience that bring you the best possible service. Electronics Incorporated at 522 North 2nd Street, Clinton.
Again, visiting with Scott Maddasion. We got a lot to talk about. Scott, appreciate you coming in today. Lions Farmer Market's going to be opening soon. It's not like a beautiful day today.
I thought it was a perfect day to talk about that, right? No, I thought this was a really cool project, the Lions Farmers Market. I know we've talked about it before. It's kind of morphed into this huge concept, and we're looking for construction to start in March. So anybody that enjoys the farmers market will be able to hopefully, I don't know exactly how long it'll take. It shouldn't take too terribly long, but I know this summer and into the fall with the farmers market, they'll be able to enjoy the new pavilion. It's going to be up over Roosevelt. The cars will be able to just kind of pull in. We'll be able to shut the street off so people can just kind of walk freely down that road and hit all the vendors. It'll just make it it'll flow better. It'll have a lot more safety, and it'll just be kind of a really neat thing up in the Lions neighborhood, because they do a really nice job with that farmers market.
Again, that is on Wednesday evenings and then on Saturday mornings. And I know it is Wednesday, is it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yep. And I know they've added like some music now to it every once in a while.
Yeah, they have. They've added using the band shell over there at that. I guess it's all Foursquare Park technically, I think. But they use the band shell there, and they've had some music there in the last. I don't know if they've done it the last 2 years, but I know last year they did for sure. We were up there the one night. They had the farmers market, the band playing, and then we had the first annual mayor's bike ride that we put together with Chad Jensen, and so that was kind of all a little function too. So hopefully we can continue to do more things like that up there as well.
Yeah, the North End. I grew up in the North End, and actually I went to Lions Junior High School, and it's still at 3rd Street and Main Avenue.
Okay.
And I wrestled, and we would run down to Baldwin School, and that's where we would practice our wrestling, because there wasn't enough room at Lions Junior High School for wrestling. So yeah, we had to jog down to.
So it was at 3rd Street in Maine?
Yeah.
Oh,
you know where those apartments are right now? That was where Lions Junior High School was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Come on. I thought you were older than that. Police station. What's happening there?
I know we mentioned it before, but something I really want to highlight. So we've, for whatever reason, have rented our police station for the better part of 30 years. Councilmember Shemmers, obviously of the public safety background, was big on this, and I kind of jumped on board with it with him when I came on. We now, once the ink is dried, and then we'll have one purchase here, and then the other purchase will be in the September timeframe. Because both buildings are tied with utilities, so we kind of have to have both buildings. So we will officially own our police station here, I think by the end of March, and then the other building that DHS and some other folks use, some state representatives use. So we'll have those buildings. It's just a huge thing, because this is the first budget we've gone through where we're not budgeting $86,000 or $88,000 for renting. Some people ask us why we did it. The return on investment for this is 3.5 years, maybe 4 at the max. If there's some extra repairs that have to be done. So if you think about spending that $80,000 over 30 years and then buying this and not paying anything and having it return your investment in, we'll just say 4 years, that's a huge thing for the citizens, because saving $88,000 a year is important. And we'll receive some rent from those state agencies from the other building that will help kind of use that, and it just gives us another space too, if for different types of things, public offices and things. So I think that's just a really cool thing that I just wanted to highlight.
Well, that is great news.
Yeah.
And something I'm excited about for the downtown area is right there between, I believe it's 4th Avenue and 3rd Avenue. Is that right? In that, 3rd Avenue South, 4th Avenue South. Yeah. There's going to be a lot done there.
Yeah. So we have a developer who owns a pharmacy chain that's going to come in, and it's called Pure Vita, and he will be taking down the Strand and RSVP building. And as I've said before, I understand that there's some history with that building, and it's sad to see it go. But I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but it was not well maintained for the life of the building, and it's just too far gone. You're not going to get anybody in there. We tried. You won't get anybody in there to spend the millions of dollars to get it back to its glory, so to speak. And the functionality, I don't even know if there's anything in there because it was kind of pieced together into separate things. So it's sad to see it go. We're going to see a nice, big, beautiful development there, which will be really nice. So I think it's either June 1 or July 1. I tried to look it up and I couldn't find it. But June 1 or July 1, you'll see both of those buildings down, the Strand and RSVP. It'll be bare ground. It'll be filled in, so there won't be holes or anything nasty there. And then we're hoping that by next year, we'll see that new development rocking and rolling and going. But I don't think there's a set time frame on that yet when they're going to build it, because it'll be torn down from the Strand all the way over to the building where Voss Plumbing was. The gentleman bought that whole block, basically. The Voss Plumbing building will remain, and then everything else will be taken down, and then that's where the new pharmacy will go.
I was talking to Jeff, and they're going to be actually building on the other side.
Yeah. So there'll be, I think was it the Tailor Made? Is that little building right there behind the old Better Family Furnishing?
Right.
It'll be right next to that. I think it's where Voss will be putting up a new building. That'll be nice. That'll be good for them.
And you got the post office right down there. It's going to look great.
Yeah, it is really going to look good. And I know the gentleman plans on doing some remodel to the we'll call it the Voss building too, where the plumbing is, and having some apartment units there, and then I think some commercial on the first floor. And I don't know if it'll be rented out commercial, or if it's commercial in the sense like his operation will be using that building too. I don't know for sure on that, but it'll be really, really neat to see that kind of develop. I mean, you got the brewery right down the street. You got this happening. You got all the good stuff on 5th Avenue South with the Wilson building. The Lafayette development agreement will be coming to council on Tuesday. We're working with Bush Construction to try to get that finalized. We're hoping that they get some credits that they need and all that good stuff, so we can get that rolling.
Yeah, that brewery, they're really coming along.
Have you been in there yet?
No, I have not been in. But that building to the north that they are constructing, that's starting to come along.
Yep, it'll be like a warehouse type building for their product. But yeah, the inside of that brewery it's amazing. When you walk in there, if you've ever been in the church before, if you see pictures, it will absolutely blow your mind what they did. It is beautiful. Yeah, and I think it's going to be a tourist attraction. People are going to drive from all over to go to this brewery.
That's great news. Again, visiting with Scott Maddasion. Scott, we got about 5 minutes left in the program. A new mural at Riverview Stadium.
Yeah, we had the Synergy folks at the last council meeting, and there's going to be another mural put up at Riverview Stadium. So it'd be 6th Avenue North. So it would be like that concession stand building that's out there. So on that wall on the 6th Avenue North side, there's going to be a really neat mural put up there. It's kind of like a baseball of the future type mural. So if you go on the council meeting last week for the committee of the whole, you can see the picture of what it's going to look like, and it'll pay homage to the history and the future of the Lumber Kings, which is really cool. And it'll be, I think it's a local artist. I don't think they're living here now, but a local artist is going to come back and do it. Synergy kids at Clinton High School really worked on that with Matt from the city and then Ted Torno from the Lumber Kings. They all kind of collaborated to get this done. And it's just going to be really neat to have that. I like the murals. I think it's kind of cool. You don't just see blank walls driving around. You see some nice color.
Well, they got that nice one on the side of Keeping You Sewing.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. That was in conjunction with University of Iowa students, and then Synergy as well, I think, was involved in that too. So
I know Bill Mishevitz heads up the Synergy program.
Yeah, he does.
We both know Bill very well. I had him on my coach's show last night, and he's really coming along on that project for Duke Slater and that statue they're going to have near the high school.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. I'm excited for that. And I know there's a lot of groups involved with that. There's a lot of moving pieces to get that done, but I think that's well deserved, and it's going to be really neat to.
I know
to
Ted
see
Tornell's
that.
involved with that too.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
So before we let you go, something I brought up just before we went on the air, and I did not realize the magnitude of this project. Manufacturing Drive and Bluff. I mean, that's going to be incredible.
Yeah, $33 million project, $15 million from the federal government. The rest is local stuff, state, and then some utility matches. It's a full reconstruction. We'll be letting out the bids this year for construction to start spring of 24. And then we're looking at 26, hopefully 26, it'll be all completed. And it's a full tear out, take everything away, reconstruction from Highway 30 all the way down to 7th Avenue North, which ends at 4th Street there. So it'll be a full on reconstruction. And the one thing too is like some of the intersections are really skewed. So like Thurwaldson and 7th Avenue South, like we're going to straighten that stuff out so it's not so weird. And there's a couple intersections like that. Springdale is another one, because if you're going to try to go straight across there, you can't really do that. You got to go right then left quick. And so, they're going to straighten everything out and really kind of make that whole corridor more safe.
Amazing. Now, are they going to start south, go north, north, go south?
They're going to start at Highway 30 and work their way down. So manufacturing will be the first one. It will cause a lot of issues because the bridges are going to be torn out and then rebuilt. So there will, for however long it takes to finish a bridge or two bridges, there will be no traffic going, what would be that, south on manufacturing. So you'd have to go all the way out and around. So there'll be plenty of notice. We've already engaged all the local businesses. We're going to have to work a plan with Nestle Purina, obviously, because getting their personnel there is going to be important. So we've worked with all them. The local businesses have had input. I think everybody's ready for it to start. We got slowed up by 1 year because we got that federal government money. And when the federal government gives you money, they have more regulations, more restriction, or not restrictions, but more things to do. So we just started doing those. And now we hopefully will be breaking ground next spring.
That is going to be incredible when it is done. It's going to be a project.
Yeah.
Thank goodness we got the expressway.
Right.
And of course, you can always go on Highway 30, continuing on into Lincoln.
And I know Leslie at Grow Clinton's working on the wayfinding. So I envision that new road, you coming in there with some nice signs pointing you to, 5th Avenue South, to the riverfront, to the different schools, to all the different attractions that road filters to. And so I think we're going to continue that all around town, but I know that'll be really neat for that.
Before we let you go, and of course, next week, Gary DeLacy is going to be in on FYI, but on the fourth Thursday now, we've been dedicating it to tailgates and tall boys, and Josh Agers is going to be in at that time. How are things looking on that? Because I know you're heavily involved as well. Things
are looking really good. We have a meeting today with the Clinton Herald to give them an update too. We're at about 3,500 tickets across the board, and that's like single days, 3 days, VIPs, general admission, all that stuff, which is right on pace with where we should be. We should see a huge, with tax time and all that stuff. And they also noted that when it gets warmer, people start buying more tickets because they think about concerts when it's warmer. An outside concert is in December when it's snowing, or February is like, But yeah, so that's going really well. We have 40% of our campsites are sold out, to include 80% of the RV hookup ones, which is huge because those are like $699 for the 3 days, and those are 22 of 27 are sold, which is cool. We're plugging along. Public safety is on board with what we need to do. We're hopefully going to finalize all the maps and all that stuff. We're working on the side stage acts right now. Random Tanner is going to be a side stage act. The Stockwells have come on board. A couple other local ones that I don't know if they've announced themselves yet, so I'm going to let them do that. But I know those two have put out things, so we're working on the side stage stuff, which will be really neat to have our local acts up there in front of hopefully 12,000 people. But yeah, so I mean, it's plugging away. It's all coming together. I think Josh and I are nervous at times because we've never done this before, and then we get reassured like, hey, relax, we're good. I'm like, okay.
All right. Scott, thanks so much for coming in.
You're listening to AM 1340 KROS, Clinton, Iowa. FM 1.